What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Once again, we are here with another podcast, and I have a great guy here with me today. One of my really good friends here in Delaware. There's an amazing program called Leadership Delaware, and the best of the best, the creme of the creme, go through Leadership Delaware. I had the opportunity to go through Leadership Delaware. 2023 was the best class, right? We all say that, right? But I had the opportunity to meet Ted through Leadership Delaware, and then I've just grown to know him much, much, much more as a father, a military man, a very good and very attentive to detail when it comes to finances. Hence the reason why he's doing what he's doing, right? My good guy, Ted Lauzen. What's up, man? How are you?
Oh, Malcolm, this is fantastic. It's wonderful being here with you.
Oh man, I greatly appreciate you giving me some time. So, just for context, right? I want everybody to know my good guy Ted is running for the treasurer of the state of Delaware. Yes, yes.
It has never sounded as cool as you just made the state treasurer sound.
I love it.
Malcolm.
I
Yeah.
love it. Good. I'm glad I can make it sound exciting because some of these things that you're gonna be doing once you become treasurers, tedious. Very tedious. So we gotta try to make it sound as exciting as possible. So we're just gonna get right to it, Ted. Before we really like go into any type of political conversation, who is Ted Lauzen, right? Like the campaign signs, the professional titles, when the resumes are removed, who is Ted? Who is Ted? Tell the people who's Ted.
Well, that's a great question. I think, Ted is a loving husband who got the chance to marry a wonderful woman from Milford named Sarah, a father of four young kids who, yeah, who is going through the process of raising, Caroline, Jack, Emily, and William. And William goes by the nickname of Pork Chop across the board. And then, just a guy in this community who's trying to do the best he can with the gifts I've been given and the skills I've built over time to help folks across Delaware do the best they can, using kind of the nerdy financial expertise that's been built over time.
That's oh, I like that. That's real good. When like where did you grow up? Like how like your family, like what was the community like in the place that you grew up at?
So I grew up in Aurora, Illinois, which is about 40 miles west of Chicago.
Mm.
It's right where the city essentially hits the cornfields that then go all the way to Denver in the Midwest. And so, wonderful little community. It was actually, the home of Wayne's World.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. And that was my first introduction to Delaware. That scene of Wayne's
Yes.
World. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Delaware. And so, grew up in a tremendous family. My mom and dad, hardworking folks. And I grew up as the oldest of four boys. And so my three younger brothers, Elliot, Hans, and Rob, all got the chance to grow up in a little Midwest community where, the folks care deeply about each other. We use a lot of ranch on everything we eat.
I don't know if that's the Midwest thing because I was just eating ranch last night, so I don't know if that's the Midwest thing.
Good. I like that very much. Got to grow up in a small neighborhood in which we spent a lot of time outside and a lot of time getting to know folks throughout the community.
Did you guys talk about money when you were growing up? Like, did your parents show you like money, the responsibility around money, responsibility around public service? Was that something that your parents taught you, or was that a community thing? Like, how did you get that sense of responsibility coming up?
Actually, that's an incredible question because it's something that each family handles a little bit differently, across the board. I would not say, we weren't having money conversations with four little boys, within our family at the dining room table. It was more sports A lot of Michael Jordan talk, and then
Mm-hmm.
a lot of like
Oh,
home.
you came. That's right. You came up that same era I did
It
in the
was,
'90s. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Kerr kind of
Yep.
like
Yep.
generation there, and so um, it was a lot of sports, it was a lot of activities, it was a lot of school talk at the dining room table. Now, where I think we got a little bit of exposure to the money side of things is that first and foremost, my dad was an accountant, and my mom worked hard to support our family. And so we got a chance to see the effort that goes in. Actually, it's the effort and the love that goes into the day-to-day basis of raising a family.
Mm-hmm.
And it was by, the example that my parents set,
Mm-hmm.
that, you didn't really have to understand the dollars and cents, but you understood the foundational values of love, care for others, hard work that build the fundamental pieces of success over time. And then the monetary element follows. We did get a chance to, I always think back when we hit about 12 or 13, started because you're always looking for ways to make a little bit of money so
Mm-hmm.
that you can buy some candy at the local,
Mm-hmm.
drugstore, so you can
Back when
go
it
to
was still
movies.
25 and 50 cents.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
Mm-hmm.
so my brother Elliot and I started a little lawn mowing business. And I would say
Mm.
that was really what kind of exposed us to the idea that, you find a service or a product that you can deliver for folks, you charge a little bit for it, and then you consistently deliver on your promises over
Yep.
time. So we,
Yep.
Elliot and I, and then Hans and Rob all joined the kind of family lawn mowing practice, and we built that across the neighborhood. And then it was in those kind of conversations where, with mom and dad, that we started talking about some of the finance. So
Mm.
after you would mow a lawn, at the end of the month, you'd send out the invoices, you'd get the checks, and then there was the big conversation about whether it was all going to a new pair of Jordans, or if it was going
Mm.
to, or if we are going to
Mm.
save a little bit of it, for the long-term process. And I'm very, very thankful that my folks um, took the time to always explain the balance of, a little, spending so that the effort continues to be motivated, and saving a little bit, for larger purchases, which, at 13 and 14, you're always thinking about like that first car. At 16 or 17 years
Mm-hmm.
old. And then even beyond that, some of the college, the schooling experience.
Yeah, I definitely was defaulting to Jordans every time.
Yeah. Let's be honest, though. Like at a point, those probably became pretty good investments, over time. But that's exactly right.
Yeah,
And
I
it's the
defaulted to
balance.
Jordans every time. It was never when I was in high school. I got to a point where not only did I default to Jordans, but Allen Iverson, when his sneakers came out, I was like huge on
Yeah.
him and all of his things too. But that's really
Yeah.
good that I think what happens, especially a lot of millennials, all us, our generation, we have a lot of conversations around the financial speak that we didn't get, quote
Mm.
unquote, growing up, right? I know a lot of millennials who didn't get the financial speak growing up. I was one of them, right? And obviously our parents did the best they could with what they had and the knowledge that they had at the moment. However, now that we're at our age, we can give our children the financial speak, and we can give that level of knowledge and expertise that this had. Like, hey, growing up, we didn't have this and this and this, but we have that knowledge now. We can pass it down to you guys. If you were before I get to that, what did you think when you were 18? What did you think your life would look like?
Oh, that's actually, to be honest, I thought it would look a little different. You know, I had always been interested in, that kind of coming out of that small business experience. I was interested in finance, and so thought that there was going to be a really clear kind of path from high school to college
Mhm.
to like the steps along the financial, analyst to associate to, kind of partner route. When you grow up, just outside of Chicago, there's always that like appeal of the big city experience of like a Chicago or a New York. And so I had, kind of always pictured it as a trajectory along finance because, I was good in math. I enjoyed kind of how numbers, can kind of work together to figure out puzzles on things, and always thought that I could use that skill to deliver a service to folks. But I always thought it was going to be in a big city in a high finance kind of role, and that's what it kind of seemed like exciting and fun.
In the 90s, like that was kind of that was a lot of trajectories, right? Like, hey, this is like a clear cut. You're going to go do this, and it's going to get to that. However,
and all that came from the fact that my 8th grade basketball season was not spectacular. I was not dunking. I was not scoring a bunch of points. So I knew that I wasn't going to be.
The MJs wasn't working.
It wasn't. I was not going to be the next Michael Jordan. So all of a sudden we had to, turn to numbers instead.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you could go back and speak to that 18-year-old version of yourself, what would you tell them about, the concepts of success, money, purpose? What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Well, so, having the chance to now raise kids with Sarah, you get an opportunity to think through that question. Maybe not in what would I tell 18-year-old Ted, but what would I tell the next generation to be able to build the fundamental set of values that I would have really appreciated as an 18-year-old. And so, Sarah and I spent a lot of time talking and thinking about that, and then, working hard to implement it. And we have 4 little Lauzen values in our families that, hang in the girls' room and hang in the boys' room. And those 4 values are that we are part of the Lauzen legacy. So we are building upon the sacrifices that have been made a generation before us.
That's
good. We are making sacrifices for the next generation. And none of this is about us. All of it is about the wider legacy that we get to build together across generations. Second, it's that we treat others the way that we would want to be treated. That good old golden rule that is hard on a day-to-day basis, even though we've all heard it and we've all been taught it over and over again.
We have.
But the third is that Lauzens do the right thing, not the comfortable thing, especially when no one's looking.
Choose your hard. Choose your hard.
Things are hard, and that's it's real for my 10-year-old right now. And it was real for 18-year-old Ted, and it's real for 42-year-old Ted.
It's real for 40-year-old Malcolm too. I'll tell you that.
That's exactly right. And then the fourth is that Lauzens always go for extra credit. That extra effort. All the way through the finish line. That extra opportunity that when you're given a chance, that you capitalize on it, even if it takes you a little bit longer. And so, I think it would, the chance to talk to 18-year-old Ted would start with those 4 key principles as kind of the foundational set. I think it would then build into, the importance of understanding our purpose here in life. And when you sit at 18, you think it's about doing the sexiest stuff and the stuff that benefits you the most, whether that's big bank accounts, after years of effort, whether it's, flashiness or fanciness or etc. And what I think you've experienced, what I've seen over time, is that it's really about the delivery of love and of purpose to others. It's about helping the folks who are in our trench improve their lives just a little bit. Because, let's be honest, Sarah and I, across our Marine Corps experience, lost about 18 really good friends. I mean, like real, like close buddies. Kids are named after them. Folks from would be sleeping on our couches, going out to the parties with us. And what you realize through that experience is that when you're 18, you think you're indestructible, and you think I can do anything I want, and therefore it's like a focus on the personal side of things. When you go through experiences that happen across lifetime for everybody. For me, it was the Marine Corps experience. You learn that this isn't about us. Mm-hmm. This is about others, because our lives end so very quickly. You give a high five. You give a high five to Thomas Heitman as he heads out to his helicopter, and it hits a hawk. It splits in three, and his future is stamped out. And that you realize that we're given no amount of time in this world, and so we have to use that amount of time that we are given to use what we're good at to benefit other people. And I think you do a beautiful job of that on a day-to-day basis. I try to do a good job of that. And that's a distinctly different vibe than 18. It's a let's be honest, it's a distinctly different vibe than just coming out of undergrad or those first couple
agreed
experiences, professional experiences, because it comes from seeing the wildness of this world, seeing the struggle that is faced by so many folks in this world. It's by seeing a lot of things go well and seeing a lot of things go really, really poorly. And so it's that beauty of a lifetime of experience that helps inform the lesson set that you would give to an 18.
Mm-hmm. End the podcast now. With Ted, we're done. That was it. That's it. Jeez, Ted, man, I could just take so much from what you just said, especially throughout my 40 years of living. Right, yeah. I could wholeheartedly agree. We don't have the time, and you see certain things happen with your parents, and then you see certain things happen with your children, and then to your point, you have so many close folks around you that aren't a part of this world anymore, right? It just gives you so much it just gives you so much to help grow your perspective, about this life that we have.
Yeah, grow the perspective, motivate the effort. I mean, I always think so. Our little our third daughter, Emily, is named after just a fabulous person I got a chance to fly with for a whole bunch of years. We flew in combat together. Her call sign was Peaches. And so Peaches and I, we flew the same aircraft. We flew frequently together, flew in combat. And then she was killed in a helicopter mishap in 29 Palms. And so, Sarah and I, years later, named Emily after her. And I got a chance to call Peaches' mom. Now, just recently, because she had sent me a little note after the turn of the year. We sent out a little Christmas card. She sent it back, so I called her up. And what you realize is that, it was devastating to lose Peaches, a better human being than I will ever be, and by leaps and bounds. Devastating to lose. But what her mom shared is that she goes, Ted, I just want you to know that there are 8 young women in this world now who are named after Peaches.
Dang, really?
I mean, think about that. Think about the
impact.
The impact of a life well lived, regardless of when it was cut short. But she did. Peaches was known for caring deeply, for doing the right thing, not the comfortable thing. She was the type of person who would be walking out on a Friday afternoon, and if you were still flight planning for a Saturday morning flight, she would stop, come back in and help flight plan with you. And that care and that love and that extra effort now builds through a legacy of 8 little girls across this country. One of whom, our little Emily, we take her to Arlington National Cemetery, and we all get a chance to say hi to Peaches, who's buried there, and then we give Emily a couple moments to give Peaches the update on her life. And so it's the ripple, and we often talked about that ripple in Leadership Delaware, like the ripple of care, the ripple of concern, the ripple of effort, the ripple of just doing the best you can for other people, and like builds across time. And I don't think you fully appreciate that. And there are plenty of folks who are probably much more mature than I was at 18 who might see
Right.
some of it. But I in the 18-year-old self, you don't fully appreciate that multi-generational responsibility that we have to
That
others.
obligation.
God, and it's a great obligation.
It
I
is.
mean, it is what creates so much purpose when we stop doing things for ourselves and we start doing things for others.
Man, we got great segues, like great segues. Like I want to that I hear such a level and layer of care, right?
Yeah.
From your experiences and how you pour those experiences into the people who are around you, how you're moving forward with, running this particular race to help multiple Delawareans, right? What you were an Olympic athlete, Ted. Like we're sitting here talking about so many different layers of Ted. Matter of fact, we need to put that on a t-shirt, the layers of Ted, right? You were an Olympic athlete, Ted. I don't know anybody. I don't know a soul who competed in the Olympics. What did that experience teach you? Like the discipline, the pressure, the failure, the success. How do you see that really contributing to your goals and your purpose now?
Well, so the first thing, I was not actually an Olympic athlete. And so
Ah,
I was a member of Team USA. I was
okay.
on several national teams, several World Cup teams, and a World Championship team. In the sport I played called modern pentathlon, we send one guy and one gal to the Olympics.
Ah,
We sent in 2016, my very close friend Nate Scripture qualified and did a fabulous job. And so I got a chance to be a national team athlete, a World Cup athlete, and a World Championship athlete, which was a pretty cool series of
yeah,
experiences.
like that's
So,
still pretty
you know,
good. That's pretty
yeah,
good.
it's still
You was
pretty
way
good.
closer
It's
to the
still,
Olympics than I ever was.
yeah, but
I never had a
yeah,
chance.
but let's also be honest. Like I competed when you're not good enough in one sport, you have to play 5 sports. And so I competed in what's called the Olympic modern pentathlon: pistol shooting, fencing, swimming, horseback riding, and running. It's one of the longest running Olympic sports in the modern games. It's a all 5 sports are done on one day. It's an incredible experience. It's an incredible sport. But there are probably as many people on this podcast talking to each other that would watch a lot of our competitions. So,
That's so good. That's so good.
so we earned, I earned the opportunity after coming back from Afghanistan. So, flew 127 combat missions in Afghanistan. We were supposed to go back, on uh, like what's called a quick turn, and I got the opportunity. The Marines adjusted some of the plans for our squadron. We ended up going out on a different deployment, and I earned the opportunity to represent the Marines as a member of Team USA. And so Sarah and I moved out to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, which is just a fabulous spot to be able to kind of experience an increment of that professional athletic life,
Mhm,
especially a slightly older athlete,
mhm.
because at 30 you appreciate the good gig that's going on. I got a chance while we trained, it was usually about six days a week, full like 3 or 4 different sports a day. But at the end of the day, I got a chance to be home for dinner and for time with Sarah, and then time with Caroline and Jack during that increment of life that I will always be very thankful for. On the athletic side, it was an incredible experience, and
Mhm.
it was an incredible, like I always talk about, like the juxtaposition between the two experiences. So remember, this was just coming off of flying 127 combat missions in Afghanistan, which, our job as a light attack helicopter team and section was good guys would start getting shot at, and they would call us up, and we would go shoot some bad guys and make sure the good guys got home. So we were.
That I don't want to miss that because that's a lot. That is a lot, and there's a lot of layers in what you just said. We'll come back to that. Go ahead.
All right, we'll come back to that. And so, but what I always look back, it was a destructive period. You shoot a rocket and you blow up a house. You shoot some guns and you end some futures. Like it's a real,
that's rough,
destructive kind of experience, where the juxtaposition then to go on to the international athletic world was that it's creative and it's building and it's constructive. And it was so interesting to see almost the 180-degree difference of like international diplomacy, where we would Sarah and I hosted a Thanksgiving in Colorado Springs early on in our time there, and we had like 8 or 12 different countries over for that Thanksgiving meal, and in a small community like the Modern Pentathlon, you get to become friends with, countries across the world, and you get to see this dynamic that like is so different than the contrast of combat. It's like the collaboration of athletics. Like, yes, we were in competition, but my goodness, we also had beers after competitions together. We trained, for months together, and then went into a world championship where we were competing together. And so it was like such a neat. The beauty of life is the ability to experience so many different things with different people over time, that you get to start to expand your understanding. And frankly, I think it's a little bit of the empathy that you have for folks who see the world drastically different, but are good people. And so you start to realize that like, our perspectives are so informed by our upbringing, our experiences,
our environment,
all those kind of things. And so you get the opportunity, and I think sport does a beautiful job of it, because you get a chance as you're tired and you're under pressure to get to know people at a human to human level.
Right.
Recognize that you can still compete as hard as you possibly can against them. But at the end of the day, you can still love them. You can still enjoy being around them. You can still build friendships that, continue actually very, very closely to this day. And so sport, and, I wasn't good enough on the basketball field, on the basketball court or on the football field to do something that was, really kind of cool across the bases. But I was able to experience the collaboration, the competition, the care of sports at that Modern Pentathlon and International Team USA level.
I absolutely hope that you are enjoying this podcast right now and you're learning a ton about the person that I have on the podcast right now. But I wanted to take a slight break and let you guys know about the newsletter, Ready Prompt One. Ready Prompt One is my AI startup where I talk about culture, innovation, education around this great topic, an industry disrupting thing called artificial intelligence. So I would love for you guys to all join the newsletter, readyprompt1.substack.com. I have a very, very, very active newsletter where you will learn about so many things artificial intelligence. Yeah, we all need to know how to prompt, but the conversation around artificial intelligence goes so much deeper. So I would love for you guys to tap the link in the description and go join the Ready Prompt One newsletter. I got a ton of newsletters that's already out, things that you can absolutely learn from right now. So please go tap the link in the description, readyprompt1.substack.com. Go join now. Let's get it. Man, that's the layers of Ted. We're putting that on a shirt because I mean, you have a ton of layers, especially when you're discussing, we're really talking about the beauty of life and the winding of our perspectives as human beings, and you can't really do that without certain layers and levels of experiences with people. And your layers that you have built within yourself from having these experiences with people are really going to shine when you become the treasurer for the state of Delaware, right? Because now you'll have that perspective in order to help and aid, even if it's that one or two Delawareans that's really like, man, Ted really, changed my situation in a way that I can move forward, right? Your experiences have gotten you to a point where you have the ability to do that, right? And I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about a little bit of the Marine Corps, where you have you say you flew 127 missions. Like, that's a lot. That's amazing. And there's a lot underneath of that. How do you think that affected your understanding of leadership? How did it help form your layers of leadership? I mean, because there's not a lot of people who can really say that I flew 127 missions and then have the ability to really talk about that at a high level, right? So how do you think that affected your leadership? But also, how do you feel like it might have affected your beliefs and experience that, kind of shape who you are now? I know.
Well,
I know.
Malcolm,
We could drink over these questions. I know. I
This
layered them.
This is like so much tequila over so many nights. So let's kind of grapple with that first one, like kind of the leadership perspective. First and foremost, I was so incredibly fortunate to be in the mix of tremendous people in the Marines, folks who, first and foremost, signed on a dotted line during a wartime environment to serve for the benefit of people they were never going to meet across the country. And in the Marines, it was, folks who emphasized that element of public service, that, selfless sacrifice, and wanted to put in the extra effort to be a Marine, wanted to put in the extra commitment, the extra sacrifice, the extra, commitment to earn the ability to be in, a highly selective branch of the military services. And so I am always so very deeply thankful for my opportunity to serve, alongside some of the most incredible men and women I have ever met and will ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we start talking about that leadership side of things, I got a chance to serve with some of the most incredible leaders I've ever met, and leaders who are so different. But what I always thought kind of buoyed the good examples of those experiences. The thread that went across the board for the good examples is, like, first and foremost, that folks did the extra effort and the sacrifice for the good of others. That was first and foremost.
Yeah.
The second, that leadership was not about, like the position or the fanciness of the title, but it was the ability to clearly define an intent of, like, a mission, the ability to take good care of the folks around you to ensure that they have the resources and the support to accomplish that mission, and to recognize that that commanding officer was the one who ate last, not first.
Yep.
That the commanding officer was the one who was on the front lines with everyone, not behind the scenes taking credit for everything that was happening. And so it was that idea of being in the mix with good people, clearly identifying a long-term strategy and an intention for a mission set, helping folks achieve that mission through a collaborative process, and caring deeply about each and every one of those Marines that you were in the mix with. And then frankly, it was the ability to then prepare for what was going to be asked of you. Because it's not, and actually this is very similar to the treasurer's role. You could not show up in combat and expect to achieve your objective and to keep people on the ground and in your helicopter safe just by wishing it into existence. That took the moment that you showed up on station in order to save your friends on the ground required years of preparation, years of infantry school, years of discipline and effort, years of flight school. It took the preparation to be able to deliver when all the chips, when life and death was on the table. The same holds very true for the treasurer. The treasurer.
I was going to ask you that. Do you feel like that those levels of leadership, like, do you feel like they're the same, or like, do you feel like these certain parts of your military experience, does that translate into public office? And like, what does, what doesn't?
Yeah, I think it translates perfectly because public service is the ability to do what we're really good at for the benefit of others.
Right.
Because there are two different veins of public service. There is a vein of public service that I think is destroying the trust that we have in public servants and in our government across the board right now, from the highest levels to the lowest levels, where there's one vein of public service that's about me. It's about ego. It's about fanciness. It's about making big promises into a social media, kind of outtake. And it's about doing it for the benefit of oneself. And then there's another vein that's the true version of public service of, taking what you're good at and delivering upon promises for others.
Yep.
Not for the benefit of yourself, but for the hope that you think that you can deliver something good for the next generation.
Yep.
Or frankly, for the current set of neighbors and for the next generation. And I think that, the military teaches you the folly and the destructive nature of the first.
Yeah.
Of the ego-driven service.
Yeah.
Because those are the folks who put you in danger in a helicopter. Those are the folks who, frankly, kill you in a helicopter and can't save anybody on the ground. Where the second one is the one, that when public service and when military service is done for the good of others, it's done for the ability to deliver on your mission and keep your friends safe. That holds exactly true in the treasurer's office. It holds exactly true in public service, because it's easy to talk about and make campaign promises. It's easy to fabricate things across or exaggerate things across a lifetime and try to trick people into voting for you so that you can have a fancy title. And then have no idea what you're going to do when you have to manage $8 billion of our,
state budget,
our state's reserves and resources.
Yep.
Actually lead financial literacy programs and 529 and retirement programs, and then serve on statewide boards across the element. It's easy to want something for yourself and to make shallow promises. But we all know, Malcolm, I know, your listeners know, Leadership Delaware teaches us that true service comes from the implementation of a hard-earned skill set for the benefit of others. So that when you say to somebody, hey, I'm going to invest your money really well, it's not just because you want to invest it really well, but it's because you've created the lifetime of skill to invest it really well. It's when you say, hey, I'm going to expand financial literacy programs through our most trusted community partners across the state so that we can help every individual. And if we can help every individual, then we can help the household. And if we can help the household, then we can help the neighborhood. It's the ability to say, I've done it. And I've done it a lot of times, so that it's not a promise, but it's a commitment. that you can deliver upon. And that it's, and the third piece of the treasurer's role is that the treasurer has the privilege of serving on a lot of statewide boards.
Yep.
It's the ability to actually say, I serve on statewide boards as the treasurer of the Delaware YMCA, as a member with you on the Delaware Prosperity Partnership.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the mix, serving on those boards, making the tough decisions, learning the evaluation metrics that are built to help our state succeed. Easy to say, harder to do on a day-to-day basis.
Choose your hard.
Choose your hard, man. Choose your hard. And in politics, the trouble is that we are allowing people these days to choose easy.
Yep.
We're allowing people to make promises that they've never earned and then not hold them accountable for those promises. That's easy. And then everybody gets the fancy title. What we need to be doing is we need to be evaluating, choosing the hard. Demonstration of a lifetime of service and sacrifice and of hard-earned skill, so that we can also hold folks accountable to deliver for all of our communities across the state and across the country.
Choosing your hard is probably one of the most difficult concepts that I wrestle with every single day, because you can choose to eat pizza every day, or you could choose to eat fruits and veggies every day. Then 20 years from now, you're going to live based upon the choice of hard that you made 20 years prior, right? And I'm glad that you are speaking at a high level about what the state treasurer do. You just segue really good, because military, well, first father, you grew up in the Midwest, father, sports, Marine Corps, then law and investment management.
Yeah.
The layers of Ted. I'm getting it on a shirt. The layers of Ted, right? What does an investment manager even do? Like, if you had to explain to someone who has never owned a stock or met with a financial advisor, what would you say to them?
So an investment manager helps individuals and families take that hard-earned money that they have sacrificed, their time, their resources, their lives, their sweat, their care. An investment manager helps folks take that money, thoughtfully invest it in the future, make that hard decision today so that years from now, individuals, families, and communities are slightly better off. It's the ability to be like the trusted expert, the nerdy investment guy in the mix that can help individuals and families build upon the tremendous work that they've done over time and be like that teammate in the process. And so, back in March of 2020, my partner, who you know very, very well, Kevin Dabrowski, and I started Gray Fox Wealth Advisors.
Yep.
Under the, enthusiastically started it to build a company that always acted as a fiduciary, first and foremost. So that means putting others' interests always in front of your own. It's a voluntary higher standard of legal obligation that Kevin and I and Gray Fox take on behalf of our clients to ensure that we are always doing the right thing, not the comfortable thing, especially when no one's looking. It's about doing the hard choice today for the better outcome tomorrow.
Choose your hard, man.
Choose your hard. And
what's
really neat is that that's not the normal experience in finance. That's not the normal offering in finance. And so the ability to create a company in 2020 where you say, we want to create something that we can be proud of, that serves others, and that takes care of folks the way that we would want to be taken care of. We built Gray Fox, and man, we were so excited to launch it. We launched it, wonderfully with more kids than clients on March 1st of 2020. 9 days later, the global pandemic.
The world shut down.
Like all of our meetings got canceled, and all of a sudden you start sitting at the top of your stairs and you're like, holy smokes, how am I going to pay for like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for these three kids, much less college later on. But what, Kevin and I always talk about is that it was one of those moments in which I think a lot of folks' trust got rocked. Trust got rocked at the individual level. Like, what does my future look like? It got rocked at like the partnership level of like, hey, I've been working with an investment person who hasn't called me in 10 years. And the market dropped by 30, 35%, and nobody called me. Or with an institution that, as folks think about it, they're like, wait a minute, that Wall Street bank doesn't care about me anymore. And so after we all kind of figured out that we were going to be able to survive, there was a chance to have a lot of conversations. And actually, I think it accelerated the chance for Kevin and I, a lot of
greatly accelerated.
A lot of meaningful conversations with people about their futures, about how, a trusted friend who maybe I was in a helicopter with him in combat, maybe Kevin was in an analyst and a senior vice president role with him at Morningstar, and maybe it was somebody on Team USA that, like, all of a sudden you say, we got to work with people we trust in this world, and we got to build something that is meaningful. Now Gray Fox Wealth is a two-timing 5,000 company. We're superstars in business in Delaware for 2025. I'm a two-time recipient of like one of the top advisor recognitions across the entire country, because we started by building a company that was focused on doing the right thing for other people. And as you ask about what does investment manager does, that's it. It's the investment manager happens to work in investments and finance, but uses that investment skill to do the right thing for others. And how the beauty of how that carries over to the state treasurer role is that the state treasurer, regardless of what title you want to put on it or whatever folks want to say that they do, the state treasurer is the investment manager for our state. The state treasurer, and it's not the economist for our state, it's not the finance person, it's not the private equity person, it's not the CFO for our state, it's the investment manager for our state. The treasurer invests $8 billion, 8,001 millions of your money.
8,001 million.
8,001 millions. This is not practice time. This is
ain't no time for play.
Man, this is Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen showing up in the
Game 6, Utah, 30 seconds left.
You are exactly right. This is world championship game time kind of stuff, because each and everyone, and what I don't think you fully appreciate unless you've been a fiduciary and responsible for other hundreds of millions of dollars of other people's money, is that you don't fully appreciate how each dollar is somebody's sacrifice. Each dollar is a choice that a family made or had to make to send in $1 to the state government instead of $1 to summer camp, or instead of $1 to a vacation, or instead of $1 to that grocery bill that week. 8,001 millions of sacrifices that somebody has made for our state to have those resources that the state treasurer and the cash management policy board invests. So
8,001 millions.
Man, of sacrifices. And so the treasurer invests, not doesn't invest $8 billion for us. The state treasurer manages financial literacy and support programs. And so when we talk about those, it's the Delaware 529, saving for college. It's the Delaware Earns program and the Defer program, helping folks save for retirement. It's the ABLE plan that helps families save money for expenses of caring for a child or an adult with a disability. It's the Stand By Me program, which is one-on-one financial.
Stand By Me program is really good.
Coach, yeah. I mean, these are big programs that make a massive difference in the trajectory of individuals across Delaware. And then finally, it's the ability to sit on and represent as an independently elected statewide official represent Delawareans on key boards across the state. And it's those three things. And the what, Malcolm, as we've talked about, the easy choice in the short term is to say, oh, I can talk about those three boards. The hard choice is, let me build the ability to deliver on promises that I make in those three rooms, and then deliver on those promises.
I like it.
Yeah,
I love it.
And so it's, I get a chance to do the three things that the treasurer does on a day-to-day basis. I think I do them pretty well because, the Lord knows, I do not dance very well. I do not sing very well, but I do invest money really well for people. I run financial literacy programs well, and I'm a really engaged member on boards. And so it's the ability, just like you say, to deliver in game 6 when everything is on the line because of the preparation and the attention that has gone into it.
Behind me, you see a wonderful page by the name of Twitch. If you guys don't know, Twitch is the biggest live streaming platform in the world. And guess what? I have a channel on Twitch. I am an avid gamer and I play so many different layers of video games. I absolutely love Fortnite, Call of Duty, Arc Raiders. I play a lot of nostalgia games, RPG games, right? I'm just a gamer and that's what I love to do. We have a company called Futures First Gaming where we are a STEM.org accredited organization where we utilize video games to bring people into technology opportunities, education, and entrepreneurship. Now, what I need you guys to go and do is make sure you go follow your boy. Go follow your boy right now, FFG Malcolm on Twitch. That is FFG MALCOLM on Twitch, twitch.tv. Go there right now today. If you want to play any type of video game with me, or you just want to watch my antics with me and my friends while we do what we do, make sure you go to twitch.tv/FFG Malcolm. Go subscribe, follow today. Gia. What? Man, I'm going to have to call you the Segway King because it's like so many different ways and pathways that we could take. We know that you're running for a state treasurer and we know what the state treasurer really does. I want to know what part of, like, if somebody was skeptical of Ted Lauzen, like they don't know you like how I know you, right? What would you tell them to investigate when they're like, oh, I want to support Ted, but I just don't know. What would you tell that person who's skeptical about Ted Lauzen?
Yeah, I'd ask him to call Malcolm.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. Oh, that's good. The art of the referral is good. That's good. That's good.
Malcolm, I think it's, it's Delaware is a small and beautiful spot.
State of cousins.
It's a state of cousins. It's a state of neighbors. It's a state of folks who cross paths frequently enough to understand when someone is, which happens a whole bunch in politics, when someone is exaggerating and deceiving, or when someone is authentically serving. Call somebody, ask somebody, or call me, 302-228-8916. It'll ring right here, and let's have a conversation, because it matters that we stand shoulder to shoulder authentically and honestly and positively and productively and practically to serve folks. Because, as we kind of where we had, talked about earlier, is that we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time in this world. It's to like kick the can down the road or to learn what we don't have enough time. It comes down to the, one of my most favorite Martin Luther King Jr. Kind of concepts is the fierce urgency of now, the need, the mandate that we care and we work for others and we work for change and we work for a positive and impactful change today, not tomorrow, because there's no room for complacency or apathy.
None, zero.
Because there's no guarantee in time.
No, zero guarantee in time.
Yeah,
I feel that as when I wake up in the morning at 40 years old, I think about that every single day.
yeah,
There's no guarantee in time.
there's no guarantee, and your back hurts a little bit more at 40 than
It
it did
do.
at 30.
It do. My knees buckle just a little bit more than they did at 30. Like I feel it.
And it's coming, and that like fierce urgency of now implemented for the good of others, in that purpose that we have been, kind of talking about, and that purpose that Leadership Delaware talks about. It's the urgency of now with great folks and hard-earned skills, delivered for the benefit of others. And those are the things that, we kind of test and get a chance to work together on in such a small place, in a state of neighbors, in a state of cousins, in a state of friends, like whatever it is, like, my goodness gracious, this is a small and beautiful state that we have the ability and the responsibility to care deeply about each other.
1,000%. I have conversations with people all the time who are not here in Delaware. And Ted, we've accomplished so much here in the state of Delaware. And I say to this day, had I not moved to Delaware, I know for a fact I wouldn't be as far in life as I am if I had not moved to Delaware. I mean, being in Delaware, and I tell college kids this all the time, you have the ability, like you said, that we're a state of neighbors. You can connect differently here in Delaware that you cannot do anywhere else. Like if I'm originally from New Jersey, and I tell folks all the time, if I'd have stayed in New Jersey, what I'm doing now, it took me 30 years to do as opposed to 10, 15,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it's the same thing with you. Like being able to connect here in Delaware is just different than anywhere else on the planet. I mean, on the planet. And with that being said, I want to ask you this question. Complete this sentence. I am running for state treasurer because Delaware families deserve
a hardworking, prepared state treasurer.
I like that. That's good. That's going to be a clip. That's a clip. That's a clip. Man, Ted, I feel like I could sit here and talk to you for days, bro, because I actually can sit and talk to you for days because you're really my guy. I wanted just a couple of things about state treasurer that I want to like dig into before we end the podcast. Like, what you become the state treasurer? What would be some priorities that you would have in the first 100 days of becoming the state treasurer?
Yeah, and so the set of priorities, I think, it kind of breaks down along the investment front and the programmatic front. And so, on the investment side, we have an opportunity to mathematically continue to optimize our investments in that $8 billion portfolio. We have the chance to modernize our debt policy that hasn't been fully updated since about 1972.
Quite some time about that one, yeah.
Yeah, and to be able to increase the transparency. Delawareans deserve the ability to know exactly where their funds are invested, with whom, and with how much and at what levels, and how those investments are performing for them. Mm-hmm. And so on the investment side, it's pretty finance heavy and kind of focused. On the programmatic side, it gives us the opportunity, my team as state treasurer will be focused on increasing the practical impact of that Stand By Me program, that one-to-one financial literacy. I lead those types of conversations we offer it for thousands of folks in the Mid-Atlantic through Gray Fox Wealth. And it's those kinds of conversations where you get a chance to sit across the table with somebody and grapple with the real challenges, like the credit card bills, the skyrocketing costs of everything across our worlds, and the challenges that our families face. And so it'll be increasing the access and the impact of the Stand By Me program. It'll be improving our Delaware 529 from a Morningstar rating of silver to gold. It'll be increasing the participation in our ABLE plan, which is the account that helps families who are raising kids and caring for adults with disabilities use some of the tax advantaged applications across the board. Right now, we have 600 accounts in the ABLE plan across the state. In the public schools alone, we have 5,400 families that qualify for the ABLE plan.
And only 600 accounts.
Only 600 accounts. And so, and part of that dynamic is not going to be expecting that families that already have so much on their shoulders figure out the way to open their plan. It's about changing the paradigm of how we think about state government to ensure that the state is serving the people, not the other way around. And so, especially in those ABLE plans, we have the information available to us in the state to be able to reach out to those families, to make direct, proactive communication and contact with them, to start helping fill out the forms, cut down the bureaucracy that is, a friction point there.
And that red tape is very interesting too. Yeah. It really holds a lot of families back from getting the aid and the access to resources that they need. Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing about the resources that are out there, accessing them, and then being able to benefit and build upon them. And so it's those opportunities across the board, both on the investment side and on the programmatic side. We get to upgrade through an iteration, both elements, both key elements of the state treasurer role.
So you become the state treasurer and you have 4 years in office. What would you, and I know you were talking a lot about transparency, right? Because a lot of Delawareans just don't know, it's not even limited to state treasurer, to the state treasurer's office. A lot of Delawareans just don't know what these folks in Politico do, period, right? Yeah, how would you define a successful performance after 4 years, right? And you're talking about transparency. What results should voters be using to evaluate your what you've done over 4 years being elected as state treasurer?
They'll be able to evaluate transparent, aligned, and optimized investments. They'll be able to see a modernized debt policy. And as importantly, we'll be able to quantifiably demonstrate the one-to-one benefit that the treasurer has been able to deliver for individual Delawareans and to their families. So it's the big picture side of the investment piece, and it's the critical element of caring for Delawareans where they are and how they need to be cared for, after those 4 years. And actually, I think using that sense of urgency, we need to get to work. I don't think we have 4 years.
No, we don't.
Too many families are struggling. Too many families are tight. Too many folks are just, trying to make ends meet. Like, in my financial coaching roles, I used to talk to families just 3 or 4 years ago, and those conversations would be about working 1 to 2 jobs and making ends meet, but trying to save a little bit or a little bit more for retirement. Those same families, those same individuals are now working 3 to 4 jobs. There's no hope of retirement savings right now. It's simply, how do people save to next week and next month? We don't have 4 years to just say, well, we'll learn it over time.
We don't.
4 years is a lifetime. We've got to get to work, Malcolm, and we've got to take it really seriously that each of the things that we've talked about today on the investment front and on the programmatic front can be directly impacted by the state treasurer's role, can be directly led by the state treasurer's role. So we're not waiting on the legislature to do stuff. We're not waiting on, some vote on a referendum. We can make that positive impact for our state's trajectory and for our, individual neighbors' trajectory materially and quickly.
I like the sense of urgency. It's interesting that we're talking about having a moving with a sense of urgency. Success loves speed, right? So moving with a sense of urgency really resonates with me personally. Um,
As you've always done across your lifetime.
100%. And I talk to Jen Cohen so much, and the energy that you give off is a sense of transparency, integrity, but also you gotta kind of have some radical ideas, slightly delusional, in order to be able to push some things through and really get some things done. Because sometimes in order to really get some things done, you got to be a little aggressive. You got to be a little more radical when it comes to the things. And also, people got to really buy into your vision, even with that radicalness, right? Like, just sometimes it has to be done with the transparency and with the integrity, right?
Right,
And
right.
with that being said, and man, Ted, I really could sit here and talk to you for quite some time. If Delawareans gave you, and I'm gonna end on this, if Delawareans gave you 1 minute to explain why the state treasurer matters, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that the state treasurer matters because there is the opportunity in a clear and consistent way, to use the treasurer's role to help other people. The state treasurer has a direct and clear way to impact both the state's trajectory and the individual and family trajectory. It's like one of those really cool public service roles where um, when the right skill matches the moment and the responsibilities of the office, that we can do a lot of good. The state treasurer matters. And the reason I'm running for state treasurer is the ability to apply a lifetime of demonstrated service and very pertinent investment management skills in order to make lasting and tangible and practical impact on that state's trajectory and on the capacity of our neighbors to make ends meet in the short term and to succeed over the long term. The state treasurer can do it and must do it for the benefit of Delaware and all of our neighbors.
Game 6, 30 seconds in Utah. What year was that? That was 1998?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1998.
Yeah.
Yep, 1998.
There were
Ted,
a couple good years there.
yo, listen, the Jordan era was something different. Ted, we need the shirt immediately, right? Ted in the layers, right? We got to put that on the shirt. Man, we could take so much from this particular moment in time and the things that you had the time to share with me and to all of the listeners, right? I want people to really truly understand what this office means to the state of Delaware, why we should take it seriously, and why people should go and vote when it comes time for us to vote. Because the more that we understand these layers of state politics, the more that Delawareans will be just better as a whole, right? Because I just know me personally, not me personally, not knowing. However, I know personally that people just don't know, right? They just don't know who is a Ted Lauzen or what the state treasurer does or why the state treasurer matters, and you being in place, what that does for them, for their daily lives, right? So Ted, I thank you for just giving me a few moments, just really breaking down who you are, why you are the way that you are, and what you do in state office when elected to be the state treasurer. I'm gonna give you a few more moments. What do you want to? How do people get in contact with you? What do you want to end with? You got a quote or something that you want to let the people know? How to contact you. I know you got a website. I know people need to donate some money, right? Give them all the things.
Well, thank you very much, Malcolm. And it really comes down to this race is an opportunity for us to stand shoulder to shoulder to deliver on the promises we make to fellow Delawareans. It's the ability to use that demonstrated service, that hard-earned skill to deliver on promises and to actually use finance and investment management for the good of others. And so, when we think about opportunities to get involved, in the same sense of urgency that we need to be serving others in statewide office and delivering on our promises and working hard to transparently and honestly serve others, we've also got 4 weeks until the primary. We've got 4 weeks as of today. We've got 4 weeks left.
August the 18th.
Yep. So today's August the 18th. The election is on September 15th. First and foremost, I would ask you to take a look at our website. I'd ask folks to take a look at our website, which is tedlauzen.com. That's TEDLAUZEN.com. If you have any questions about what's up there, or my background or my game plan for state treasurer, call me, or even better, call Malcolm. And we can talk about the background, we can talk about the potential impact, and then tell 10 friends. This is, as you mentioned, it is a state of neighbors. It's a state of folks who are deeply connected. And as we talk about, Bobby Kennedy's, concept of the ripple of hope, that as the aggregation of individual efforts over time, bend the arc toward justice, that if folks can just tell 10 people that there's a state treasurer race, that there's a friend of Malcolm's running in the state treasurer's race, and that friend is going to work honestly and with full extra credit effort to take good care of people and to take good care of our state, that's what's going to win the day. And that's what's going to win not just the election, which is the end of the campaign, but it's going to win the opportunity for us to then deliver what's the most important part of public service: the care for folks across our state, the true ability to help people make lives just a little bit better because of the effort, because of the collaborative effort that we've put forward.
That's good, Ted. That's good. I like it. Ted Lauzen, everybody. Ted.
Oh, Malcolm, you're the best. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my good brother. Listen, so Ted let you guys know where to go to find out about what he's running on, what he stands on. And if you have any questions, he gave you his phone number. So, if that's not transparency, I don't know what is and how much further you could go, right? Or you could call me, right? But Ted, thank you once again for just giving me a few moments. I know your day was tight today and you fit me in there, so I do appreciate you. That's about it. And we're going to say goodbye to everybody that is in the internet. So thank you everybody for tapping in. Once again, my guy Ted Lauzen, running for state treasurer here in the state of Delaware. All right. Peace to everybody.